Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars.
We should officially welcome you to the dungeon. See if I can get the scary dungeon lighting going.
It's very lit up in the dungeon. It's the brightest dungeon I've ever been in.
It's bright and it's colourful. It's got every colour around. Oh, they've even got some motorbike photos. Do you want to talk about motorbikes?
Yeah. Like I said to you before, you'll have nothing to talk to me about motorbikes. I've got no idea. Even engines. I worked with engines my whole life. I've got no idea.
You've worked with engines your whole life?
Well, yeah. Obviously, in the mowers and the whippers, two-stroke and all that, I've never been able to do my own repairs or anything. Luckily, I'm just mates with the people that work at the mower shop.
Yeah, fair enough. So let's introduce you to everybody. So you're Brenton Mills?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, by Millsy or Brenton or?
Yeah, Millsy, everyone usually. Most people don't even know my first name, so it's usually Millsy.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, now I grew up with the Mills family in Cooranbong, so it's like,
okay.
You're nothing like them.
Nah.
Nothing.
Not gingers.
No, they were blonde, but certainly, nothing like them.
Yeah, fair enough.
So you're a ginger. I have 2 children biologically. I've got 4 kids in the family, but 2 biologically, and they are both gingers.
No, okay. Well, you one, mate. I can see you got you're going a bit grey and white. Was it a bit redder when you were younger?
My hair on my head was white blonde, and
yeah, right.
It's just gotten darker and darker. From probably about 14 years of age, it started getting a little bit of colour in it instead of just being white. And by the time I finished school, it was sort of a mousy brown. And now I've got once I started growing facial hair, which I was probably like 25, 30 before that grew actually enough to notice it. Yeah. That was ginger.
Yeah. That's when my hair's a little lighter, but the beard's red as. As soon as I got a beard, I was copping the Ranger jokes. So.
Yeah. Well, now I've got the a little bit of ginger in there. Yeah. It's kind of mostly white and speckledy now, so a bit of salt and pepper.
Bit of silver.
Yeah. Yeah, so Millsy. I gotta get used to calling you Millsy. I'll call you Brenton.
Call me whatever you want, mate. It doesn't matter. Brenton, Millsy doesn't bother me.
Yeah, that's all good. So
all better than what the missus calls me anyway.
I've been stalking your Facebook page. You got a pretty sexy looking family there.
Yeah. Oh, my personal one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't go on there too often, to be honest. Facebook, Instagram a little bit. I don't mind Instagram because it's good when you go on holidays. Photo album, sort of the modern day photo album.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But I looked at your photos on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm like, yeah, you guys are the in family, the sexy family.
Yeah. Are we? I wouldn't say that, but fair enough.
No. Anyway, I won't keep on pushing that too hard. But, we're here to talk about business.
I'm definitely punching above my weight. So.
No, I would have said that you're equally paired based on the photos.
You know that after this straight away.
Based on the photos, I'd say you're both good looking people.
Oh, beauty! I'll cop that, mate.
Yeah. So don't have too many kids, or they'll be you'll be forever running around with a baseball bat trying to make sure they don't get up to too much trouble.
No, we're pretty rare. We're not actually having kids. A lot of people don't believe it at our age. They go, it'll happen one day, but we both don't want them. So
look, it's not for everyone. I've got 4. That's enough to make up for you.
Yeah, exactly. All my mates have got them, and we'll just be the fun uncle and auntie.
Yeah, fair. I've created Aussie Lawn Stars to give you professional help free. And you'll also find Lawn Care Skull Sessions and the Australian Lawn and Garden podcast doing the same thing. On Facebook, you can look up the Lawn Mowing Contractors Australia group or the Australian Professional Contractors group. And if you want help that is personalised and takes you a little bit further, then you should look up Prez Madley. He offers personal coaching, business coaching, and corporate coaching. email him on thinktankcoaching@outlook.com. You could also book an appointment with my accountants, Prosper Financial, on 0249 773363 if you need help getting your business and bookkeeping in order. So, Brenton, how long have you been working? You said all your life you've been working with small engines, but how long have you been in business now?
2013, so what are we at? 11. So I started 2013.
So, 11 years?
Yeah, 11 years, and about 2-3 years before that. So I worked for Jim's Mowing. Got a little gig. I was just bartending. Didn't really know what I wanted to do out of school. I went to school to eat my lunch, so didn't really.
So did you
learn
start
anything.
your business as a Jim's franchise then?
No. Before that, so I got in. I hadn't done any lawn mowing or anything. I just was the offsider for a guy that I knew from golf. I just had a couple of days of him, and then a couple of years later, I just thought, I can just do it myself.
So from bartending to working for somebody else in lawns, and then out on your own.
Yeah, I went. Yeah, because I started pretty early. I was 22 when I started it. So
yeah, I was going to say you're a couple of years younger than me.
Yeah, I just turned 33 2 weeks ago.
So yeah, that's 13 years younger than me.
Yeah, I still think I'm in my 20s. It's no good. 33. It's flown by.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. When I started my motorbike up this afternoon and went for a ride with my missus, we got a bike each. So it's more fun when you're on separate bikes. Oh yeah, I feel like I'm 18 straight away.
Yeah.
Invincible. The cops will leave me alone until they don't. Actually went past the highway patrol on the way into Warners Bay. We're riding through the back road from Cooranbong. So you go out Freeman's Waterhole, Barnsley, Wakefield, up through Rhondda
really
Road.
Nice drive, isn't it? Like a little ride for you, yeah.
Rhondda Road going up over the top to Terralba is a very nice road for motorbikes. And as we pulled into Rhondda Road, a highway patrol come down.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful. It's that and like people that are in their hotted up cars. It's too tempting to just. What else you got it for? Driving 60 and in this beautiful car or bike, like.
Yeah, well, when I go riding with the missus, it's a case of going, you know what, we're going to go for a cruise at 60 kilometres an hour and we're going to the cafe for a cuppa.
Yeah.
Or in this case, we were going to the doctor's for a medical appointment. And so it really is just a cruisy ride. And, my bike draws enough attention just cruising at 60 kilometres an hour. So
Yeah.
That was good. And when I go riding with the boys on the weekend, then, yeah.
Let loose a bit.
Well, within the law, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 61.
No, I find an 80 zone. Maybe even a 100 zone occasionally.
Yeah, 100 zone in a 60 zone. Some of the speeds I've heard, I've had a few mates that ride and like it's just crazy. Some of the stories I've heard and that it's just, and even seen, just ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the story I've told on the podcast a few times, so people get sick of it by now, is that people that are not bike people, they see my bike and they're like, oh, damn, that must be quick 0 to 100. And I'm like, yeah, my wife's bike's quicker.
Fair enough.
But my bike pulls her in.
Get up to like 200 and that, eh? You can.
Yeah, well, that's the next line. My bike pulls her in at 7.2 seconds from 0 to 200.
Holy moly. That is, yeah, that's scary. I've always been too scared to get my bike license, to be honest. I've always wanted to, but I'm just too much of a wuss.
Yeah. Well, I'm leaning more and more in old age, 46 years old. I'm leaning more and more towards the dirt bike.
Yeah.
It sounds counterintuitive, but when I ride the dirt bike, I'm looking for the slow tracks, not the fast tracks. So I'm looking for the steep climbs, steep descents, doing 20 kilometres an hour at the most. So, obviously I do go faster than that, but the most tracks that I'm looking for are doing sort of 10, 20 kilometres an hour. So I bounce better at 10 kilometres an hour than I do at 200. And I'm not doing track days, so I'm not doing 200.
Yeah. And you're not trialing for the Easter show next year and doing backflips and.
Hell no.
Yeah, they're crazy. That's the only thing I know about bikes. It's just watching from those sort of the Easter show and that. It's insane. I've got a
I
lot
was
of
just
mates that ride, and I've always said I'll jump on, but it keeps getting put off. Maybe when I'm 50, I've had enough of being safe.
do yourself a favour, and whilst you love two-stroke small engines, get a two-stroke dirt bike.
Yeah, that's like quicker though, isn't it? More powerful, sorry.
Well, if you're getting old like me, and you're behind me, but you're going to get there, right? So what you do is you go motocross, supercross, like your mates doing, and going to the Easter show doing backflips. No, that's not for me. What I'm looking at is enduro riding, and they call it hard enduro. I call it slow enduro because I'm not hard, I'm soft.
Yeah, right.
I'm out there looking for the harder tracks, but I'm just going slow, putting around, having fun. So the two-stroke is better than the four-stroke when it comes to doing gnarly hill climbs and all that really slow technical stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, two-strokes are considered faster sometimes, but actually nowadays four-strokes are the faster dirt bikes at the motocross track.
Yeah, it's because it'd be good fun through all the tracks and stuff. I've just recently got back into my running and want to find a few tracks. There's obviously some tracks around here, but I don't know where it's the bike tracks and where I'm safe to go for a run. And I know a few mates that do it and do events and stuff now, and I've just started doing a bit of long distance running again, which is good. It's been unreal, but
yeah. Well, if you go from your place,
taking some bikes.
If you go from your place past the Bonnells Bay School,
yeah,
the other side of the main road there, other side of Fishery Point Road, is
heading
all
towards Morisset Park,
all bush, and there's a lot of bike tracks through there.
Yeah, can you run through there? Is there anywhere? I sort of like Googled it a bit, and I was just like, but I just don't want to go through and get lost. Head 10 k's into the bush, and then I'm like, how am I getting home? Because I'm terrible with directions.
I've done a lot of riding out there, so I'm somewhat familiar with the tracks, and there's a lot of places you could run through there that would be reasonably nice to run. But if you head from Bonnells Bay, you go around the back of the school, you can go through the bush that goes behind the school, back over to Morisset Park Road.
Yeah.
And then once you get out that side there, you can jump into the bush that's out, heading out towards Morisset Park and Trinity Point.
Yeah. There's a track there that's where I've been looking at, and I'm just not sure. But I'm just like, if I head in, I think I'll rather wait until it's a bit cooler and the snakes are not sunning themselves on the, you run along, you don't have time to stop if there's a snake just laying there. You don't really see it until.
Did you see the snake I caught this week?
Yeah. Was that a green tree?
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, I saw exact same one, which I have no idea. I had one the other week at a property and reared up. I mean, I think I might have nipped it with the snipper. Because I was sniffing along and it reared at it. And then I saw its skeleton 2 weeks later when I was back there. So.
Oh, no. Yeah,
I moved it with the bull scoop, didn't. Yeah, and it was exactly the same colour as the sort of bluey, greeny, yellow.
Yeah, they have really gorgeous iridescent colours that shine in the light. That's so nice.
Yeah, good looking. But I have no idea, so I'm real careful. Like some people just go pick one. I go, well, I wouldn't have a clue it was a green tree. I actually asked the client, and I said, "You lived here. It's a property, so they've had snakes all the time." I said, "Is this safe or not?" Because it wouldn't go away.
Well, if you see a juvenile green tree snake, they start off looking pretty brown, like an eastern brown snake. So it's hard to pick.
Yeah, I've had some where they're like, "Oh, it's just a green." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know it was a baby brown." Like, I was nervous as.
Yeah, fair enough. So you're better off leaving them alone if you're not sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if you've got a mountain bike.
Yeah, with a flat tire for 12 months. It's sitting in there. I used to do a bit of mountain biking as well to sort of lose a bit of weight because I had a real bad right knee.
Yeah.
And so I started riding again. But the new shoes and that the runners they're making now are making a huge difference to be able to train, to run long distances and that. Like I did a half marathon 2 weeks ago, and I never thought I'd do that again.
So you actually ran a marathon 2 weeks ago?
No, half, just on Strava, just around here, and then I did 15 k's yesterday. Like I've been running a fair bit, and the knees, ice baths as well. This takes the inflammation straight out of my knee, and
nice.
Yeah,
my right knee flared up about 2 or closer to 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I was just working on the mower for several hours, squatting and kneeling, and
that's the one. It's the worst, isn't it? Weeding.
I haven't been able to run since. So I'm pretty keen to get back out there and start running again. I think it's just about good enough now.
Yeah, you do a little bit. We'll have to go for a trot, mate. You're only 5 minutes away.
Well, what sort of pace do you run? Because I'm getting old.
Oh, mate, I'm still overweight. Like I started doing it. I've lost nearly 4.5 kilos since, but I'm still got about 5 kilos to go. So I'm only running. What did I run yesterday? 5:10.
Yeah,
So,
I could keep
and that
up
was
with
my
you.
quickest. Actually, that was my PB for a 15k. I usually would just trot at 5:45s just for a casual.
Yeah. So because I've sustained a few joint issues along the way, getting old,
Yeah,
I started running when I turned 40, and I was running 5-minute Ks.
yeah,
But I started with a 5K run, and I found I could do a 5K run okay, but if I push myself too far, so trying to get 7, 10, 12
yeah.
Ks, my ankles and my knees would just go, nah, not
Especially on the
doing this.
road.
And yeah, for sure. So I backed off and I was going, all right, do 2-kilometre runs every day of the week, because the physio was saying, if you run 3 or 4 times a week, that gives your body a chance to recover. And I said, what about if I'm
Yeah,
doing 2K? Because I can run 2K with my eyes closed.
yeah, yeah,
So I go out there and do a 2K run every day of the week, and then 3 times a week I'd do a 5K, and then on the weekend go out there and do a 10K or I think the longest I've done without hurting myself is 16.
yeah, yeah. No,
So
it's good. It's enjoyable too. Like
yeah,
good stress release sort of going. Because I used to run when I was younger, and
yeah,
I just sort of the last few years, everyone blames it, but COVID, I just stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing anything. I ended up putting on about
yeah.
nearly 15 kilos, I reckon.
It catches you by surprise, doesn't it? Especially as you get
Oh
older.
yeah, oh for sure. And like it's casual drinking and stuff as well. Like I
Yeah,
sort of do that more, and where I'd only have a beer one day a week or something.
yeah. So I don't drink alcohol, never have. So that helps me a little bit. But I do have
Yeah,
a bit of a
it's
sweet
real
tooth.
good.
So the
You got a head
the,
start straight
the sweet
away.
tooth catches you.
Oh, for sure, mate. For sure. It's all
Yeah,
what you're putting in your mouth too. I only started eating better, and like the weight sort of fallen off the last month.
yeah. It
So
makes it. It's
huge difference at
pretty
work too.
quick once you get your diet in check, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. And like what we do for a living, like it's since I started training again, it's so easy. It's just like
Yeah,
I forgot what it was like to be. I thought I was in all right shape. Like you're in work shape, but when you're actually in good condition, like work's so easy now. It's just you know
yeah,
what I mean. You can hold the whippy all day. Like you could mow
yeah.
20 kilometers with a hand mower if you wanted. Like it's
Makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Just shedding a little bit of weight, doing a bit of strengthening exercises.
yeah,
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 yeah. I just before I hurt my knee 3 weeks ago, I was trying to get out there running daily, at least 3 or 4 runs a week,
yeah,
and I was doing about 5.5-minute kilometers.
yeah, yeah. That's the perfect
So
pace, really. Like if it's just you don't want to like go too hard than that. I used to be like I got sort of down on myself thinking I was how when I started again. Couldn't believe how unfit I was a couple of months ago because I used to run like 4:15s, 4:30s, like 10 years
yeah,
ago though. But I think back and I go, that was 10 years ago. Why are you judging yourself off? You know what I mean? Like I was 22, like
yeah,
20, and but I'm almost getting back. To be honest, I haven't run. I'd never ran anything over 16 kilometers until 2 weeks ago. And a
yeah.
couple of
Well,
mates are into it, and I went, I'm gonna keep going and just trotted out like a 20. What was it, 23 point something?
nice.
And yeah, it's enjoyable,
Yeah,
good hobby, better than just drinking all the time or something on the weekend. You can go plan for a run or
yep.
yeah.
I find start the weekend with a run at about 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and
Mm.
then you get the rest of the day to chill.
Yeah, for sure. I'm terrible in the morning, but I'm still not a morning person for work. I try. I'm constantly trying to become a morning person. I've never been able to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not
I've
a 5
always been a
a.m.
morning person, always been, early to rise, early to bed.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think that's to do with your non-drinker too, though,
Well, my
because you're not
wife's the
wrecking your
opposite of
sleeping
me.
pattern on the weekend.
My wife's the opposite. She's late to get out of bed, late to go to bed, and she doesn't drink.
Yep.
So I
Oh,
think just
okay. Well, fair enough.
some people have just got it in them. Other people, not so much.
Yeah. I would love to be a early riser and then go to
Yeah.
bed early as well. Like it,
Yeah.
particularly for work and stuff. You're beating the heat and
Yeah. Well, that's it. Nowadays, I start work at 7 o'clock in the morning, unless I'm starting at 6 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. But
So
you're a commercial
weekdays,
site a lot too, so it's better, isn't it? Like it's
well, yeah, I could work right through the night on a commercial site if I want to, because they're 24/7, or not 24/7, but 24-hour production. So they've
geez,
always
that's handy
got.
if you've had some rain and you haven't been able to get there. You can work till whenever you want.
Well, as long as I can see what I'm doing, I can work.
Yeah. Well,
So
the
yeah,
Ride-Ons now got that, haven't they? They've got the lights and all that.
yeah, they do. But I'm not keen on working into the night, but I have the option. I do start early, like I'll start at 6 o'clock or earlier when I've got some jobs to do.
Yeah.
But it's getting dark now. The sun's not up at 6 o'clock in the morning anymore.
No, it's starting, and it was a bit cooler the last 2 days as well.
Yeah,
A bit
I
more dew
almost got
on
a
the
jumper
lawn.
out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I thought it was cold last night, but yeah, I've been doing it. I do an ice bath about 3 days a week
Yeah.
now to go with my little health kick that's going on, and so I've got a hoodie on to warm back up. So, but I don't know the temperatures that time. You sleep well because your body temperature just cooled down, especially after a big work
Yeah.
day.
Oh, I think I saw 13 degrees when I got in the vehicle a couple of days ago. So it
Yeah, right.
was pretty chilly.
Yeah, it'll start to slow down the growth and stuff.
Yeah. So a lot of people will be going, what are you talking about, motorbikes? Why are you talking about running? Get to the business.
Yeah, exactly.
So we want to know, you started the business in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a lot of experience. I'm going to hit you with a hard question straight up at the start of this.
Mm-hmm.
What's some advice you'd give somebody now if they were wanting to start a business?
I don't know. There's a few things like I'll definitely just say, get your like from my mistakes that I've made is like get onto like a good accounting system, like your Xero or something straight away.
Yeah.
And just get your scheduling right. Scheduling like would be. I still struggle. I'm just a yes man. You know, you got all these clients, and I just bite off too much, and just try and chew it. And but I've pulled up the last couple of, like probably the last 12 months, I've been a lot better.
Yeah, that's really, the smaller your jobs, the harder it is to schedule well. Because if you got a full day job, you're not going to try and fit in another full day job. But if you've got a 15-minute job and you've got 30 of them, it's like, oh yeah, I can squeeze one more in. I'll just have a shorter lunch break.
100%. And then if you have you go, oh no, I'll be right. I'll give myself an early mark today, and you go, oh, I'll do those 3 tomorrow. And then it rains tomorrow, and then you're going, oh wow, like what have I done?
You go back home and you go, where am I going to slot those 3 in?
And the next day you haven't looked, and it's 38 the next day or something, and you're going, oh wow, what have I done?
So do you pull up the wickets if it's getting up over 30 degrees or 35 or 40?
I used to, mate. If it's raining, I hate working in the rain, and yeah, if it's too hot, like especially like with the worker, like I feel bad for them, but lately I've just been I just don't check the temperature anymore. I don't check the if it's going to rain. I just find that I sort of in my head make an excuse before it's even started.
Yeah.
So I just go to work. Like the other day, I didn't even know, and it was 39. I worked all day. I was laying turf and by myself, and moved 3 ton of soil, and then went and did a property and worked. This is like 2 Fridays ago when it was like got to 39, and the missus was like, "Oh, it's super hot." Like, I thought you would have been home like 3 hours ago. I'm like, oh, what? And end up doing like a 9-hour day.
You know what? If it's the day that I'm thinking of, the day before that was like low 30s, but it was really humid. And when it got up to 39, you actually had a little bit of a breeze and really dry. So it actually felt more comfortable.
It didn't feel as humid. I go off the humidity. Like since December, it's been awful here.
Yeah, it has. We've had pretty constant 29 to 33 degrees. And, the humidity would probably be on average in the 80s or mid 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't really look at the numbers, but I just go off the shirt. Like it's just disgusting. Towel in the seat, and it's just like I should be
Yep.
taking a couple of shirts, but it'd be drenched in 3 minutes. Like it's
Yeah. Well, I guess if you know you're going to quote a new customer, then you just whack on a bit of Lynx deodorant or
oh for
a new
sure.
shirt.
Like, the missus hates. She's like, just you stink. I have to get changed outside. I have to take them off and put them straight in the outside laundry. Like it's been.
Yep.
I haven't remembered a season where it's been this humid for this long.
Yeah.
Like we're into March now, and it's still pretty the same. The last 2 days, I've really enjoyed it. Actually, I haven't been feeling as drained.
They have predicted 30 degrees every day this week.
Yeah, right.
So for March, that's pretty warm.
Yeah. I think we'll get an extended season. The way the grass is still going now.
Everyone's predicting that. Usually it'll slow down March and April and then stop by the end of April. But I think the way we're going, it's not going to slow down in a hurry, is it?
Nah, I don't think so. I don't know what it is. Global warming, everyone says.
Yeah.
People smarter than me
some
know.
days you wonder, some days you're like, oh, maybe they're right.
Yeah, they're probably right. I don't know. Listen, I don't think that far into things, mate. That's outside my pay grade.
Well, we still get the seasons come through, don't we? So we get seasons that are great and seasons that make you wonder.
Yeah, it's been like it just changes every couple of years. Like the rain we had the last 2 seasons before this was horrific. Like it was just
and I think we didn't get one day over 32 degrees in that season.
nah, not last year, did we? Like it was easy.
I think we had 2 years back to back where we didn't reach 40 degrees.
Yeah.
Sitting there going, there's no such thing as global warming. And then this season we're like, oh, yeah, we can feel it.
They did call a drought, though, this year, and they missed that. They were saying it was going to be a drought.
They totally missed it. But the interesting thing is if you go out there and you do the moisture test, stick your finger under the grass and see what the moisture levels are like. And it's bone dry.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Even though we're getting rain, it's not penetrating.
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on the clients, isn't it? Like if they're watering and stuff, and then what we're doing for them as well.
Well, if you get out there and you do a couple of treatments, you put a penetrant in the treatments, and it'll make a world of difference. But if you go to Brisbane at the moment, they've had that much rain that the ground is constantly sodden.
Oh, so they're copping heaps more rain than us, are they?
Oh yeah, they've been flooded out heaps.
Wow.
So a lot of places around Brizzy have just been getting flooding after flooding.
Oh yeah, there was the floods, wasn't there?
Yeah.
I don't watch the news enough.
Just watch LMCA, you get to see it all there.
Yeah, I don't go in there, mate. I can't cop. I think I've mentioned to you before. I can't cop it. Social media in general, it's like I'm on it and I go on it a bit, but you start reading comments on things and on even sports, things on sports channels and all that. It's just
it's pretty easy to fall down the rabbit hole. So I guess that's good reason to stay away. But I find groups like LMCA, they're just really good. And I guess going back to what I asked you, the advice for new people starting business, one of the things I would say is join up to LMCA because you can ask all those questions.
Yeah, because you learn a lot from there, and even if you're doing something and you're like, oh, I wonder if this is the right way. Like there was things I've been doing, and then even listening to your podcast and stuff. It's funny. I was like, oh, I've been doing that, so that and then you go on LMCA and like even products you're using like cord and machines and stuff. It's great for that. Reviews on machines these days for YouTube and everything is good. Like I got the Ego hand mower, but I just waited and let all the other contractors buy it first and trial it, and I just messaged a few people and they all just said it's unreal, and I've never looked back. It's a great mower.
Yeah. Well, when Ego first hit the Australian market, they were making domestic products and they gradually brought out commercial products, and it's taken a while for their brand reputation to shift from that's a domestic brand to, oh, they've got some really good commercial gear. And like you say, that select cut mower, it keeps up.
Yeah, well, I haven't even changed the blades yet, and I've had it for 6 months. maybe not 6 months, 4 months, but like it's crazy. Like it's still cutting down. I think, I should change the blades, but it's not leaving anything behind. Where like the Honda, I've
Yeah.
used Hondas my whole life. You know when the lip on the blade's gone because it's just dropping, leaving a trail behind.
Mm. But the Honda has the swing back blades, whereas the Ego's got the
Yeah.
bar blade.
Yeah, the bar blades, I've never used one until now, and they're unreal.
Yeah. I think there's advantages to both. Like a swingback blades, if you hit sticks and the occasional concrete or steel pipe in the ground, the swingback blades just bounce back, whereas the bar blades tend to get damaged a bit easier on that stuff.
Yeah.
But the bar blades do a better job of cutting grass. They're a bit more solid, so they don't lose their momentum so easily. And the lift also does more on a bar blade than those little swingbacks do.
Yeah.
So I've bought a set of gator blades for my Ego, but I haven't put them on yet. I'm still running the original blades on it. I get people asking all the time if battery is up to the task for everyday commercial use, and there are still plenty of people who argue that battery is simply not a good solution for contractors. So let's cover a couple of these topics. 1. Not every lawn and garden business will get a benefit from using battery tools. You should ask the questions first about what sort of tasks they will be required to do, and I'm happy to answer some of these questions about what tasks are good for battery tools and which tasks should be left for petrol tools. 2. What benefits do you want from battery tools? Some businesses will experience a greater return on investment with battery tools. This can be measured financially, but sometimes needs to be measured in reduced risks and problems too. Work health safety benefits are measurable when talking about no exhaust burns, reduced noise, and the noise being further away from the operator's ears. Vibrations in your dominant and non-dominant arm will most likely be less with battery tools, but a change in the balance of tools or poorly maintained tools can result in more vibrations to your forward-reaching arm regardless of if it's battery or petrol power. So, some easy tools to see the benefit with battery are hedge trimmers and handheld blowers because the list of pros and cons seriously favour the battery tool over petrol. But whippersnippers and mowers often have the pendulum where the pros disappear as the runtime requirements increase or the load increases due to long grass. If you run one battery platform, you might find you initially needed 2 or 3 batteries, and now with a whippersnipper and a mower, you require 10 or even 20 batteries to get through a whole day. This can be the line in the sand for many businesses, but one way to avoid this is to charge on the go or bring your charger to the properties where you spend long periods of time. I've been using a number of Ego tools now, and Ego is a dedicated battery power brand. When I need commercial battery solutions, Ego has a tool and battery and charging options that allow me to focus on getting the work done, and I don't have to worry about my day. 2 staff and 6 batteries keep me out of trouble and busy working.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think I spoke to you and asked you about what blades you said about those gator blades. Like,
Yeah.
It's tough to change. Like when I think what it's already doing, I'm like, why change? Like,
Well, it depends what you're doing with the mower too, because if you're doing a lot of catching with it, then the original blades are going to be better for catching than the gator blades.
yeah, and I do catch with it all the time. Like, it's if I'm not if I was going to mulch, I'd either get the Ride-On or the Honda, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I've been
I
running
mulched at home with
the
it.
I've been running the Right ZK 61-inch stander with gator blades on it at the moment.
Yeah.
And compared to the original blades that were on it, which was a high lift blade, the gator blades don't throw much grass out the side chute. So I'm still side discharging with it.
Yeah.
The original blades, they would throw the grass 2 or 3 times the width of the mower across the other side. Whereas the gator blades, it barely comes out at all. It just tends to mulch it up and drop it a lot more. So
Yeah.
it's
Is it
great for mulching.
leaves a better cut though? Yeah, it's mulching better.
Yeah, but if you want to catch, which I know Uncle Benny's going to grumble about, you can catch with a 61-inch mower, but if you're catching with a 61-inch mower, you're only doing small areas with it, where it's designed to do larger areas. And mulching is great for those large open areas. It's not, where I'm doing it, cutting it weekly and mulching it up, and it looks really nice finish.
Yeah, if you're getting people onto weeklies and stuff, like I mulch one that's a weekly and it comes up unreal. Like it's you can't tell. Most of mine, even some fortnightly, like it's and mine's just a Husky. Like it's the Husky Rider. It's not even the top of the range Ride-On.
So the Husky Rider, Is that a 42-inch cut?
It's 42, yeah, 42 inch.
Yeah, they're a nice machine. I've heard a lot of people using them, and they say it gives a really good finish. And then
Yeah, it's a
I think
really
you
good
can
finish. Yeah,
you can get one that just mulches, and you can get one that catches as well in that range.
yeah. There's one that catches and it's full drive as well, so
Yeah,
it can.
but if you go up to their top of the line rider, it's a diesel machine where you can swap out the mulching deck for a flail mower or a couple of different things.
Yeah,
Got
you can do
different
that on mine
attachments.
too. I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You can swap out the front deck for rollers and whatever, like a little scoop. I'll
yeah.
never do it. I don't think it even has the power to push soil. You know, I don't think you want to even like towing something with it. You wouldn't want to tow anything too heavy. It'll damage the
Yeah.
machine.
You'd be surprised how well you can tow with a mower if you're on flat ground. You probably don't want to tow it up and down the hills, but if you're on flat
Yeah.
ground, you'd be surprised how much weight you can pull.
No, tow's pretty good. Like I've got the tow at a client's house in Tumby, that is his property. We use his, and I've done cleanups and
Yep.
move soil and stuff, and it handles it all right. But I just wouldn't go too heavy.
Yeah,
Like
fair enough.
Yeah, I just don't think they got the guts. They're not really designed for it. Like your stronger ones that have got, like I think what goes 8 or 9 kilometers or something. That's all mine goes. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So a lot of ride-on mowers are up around the 12 to 15 kilometre an hour mark, and then the bigger, stronger ones are up around the 20 plus kilometre an hour mark.
That's ridiculous to me.
Well,
you have
to have a try on the ZK stand on Monday.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I need a next season. Like I'll wait till next season now. I'll wait till spring, and I'll finance a bigger mower. Like I need something probably into the 50 inches. And I've looked at the rights. Like I do like the look of the rights and stuff. And I actually was looking with a mate, the bush rangers the other day. He had them up on the computer. Works at the mower shop. Because I was talking to him about a stander, and they look. It's like built like a tank. That thing.
They are. They're a solid machine.
Yeah, I think they're 19 and a half or something.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're looking at, say, a 52, or is it a 52?
I think it was a 52. I think it was 52 for about 19 grand, which is pretty.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I don't know anything about them. I'll have to try and do a like what's it called? Trial. Like what do they let you do?
Yeah, do a demo.
Demo. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lost for words. Yeah, do a demo on a couple maybe. See what I want.
For sure. That's worth doing. I mean, you're welcome to have a go on my Right ZK anytime you want. See what you think.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that. Like, what are they sitting at price?
Depending on the size. So the 61 inch is what I've got. And last time I looked, they're pretty close to 26 grand for the 61 inch.
26, yeah.
But that's got the 37 horse fuel injected Briggs on it.
Yeah, right.
So some
pretty
of
powerful
the
machine like that.
Yeah. Well, if you go down to the X series instead of the ZK, I think they're running a 27 horsepower engine instead of the 37. I have to double check that. But yeah, it's still like 27 horse is enough to run a 61 inch deck. 37 horse means that you're not often going to come across things that will slow it down.
Yeah. I think I'd
Whereas
go
the 27 is great for doing your weeklies and your fortnightlies and keeping them tidy.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Like, I just need something stronger that can side throw. Like mine's a rear disc. Like I can take the mulch plug off.
Yeah,
it's no good once you get some heavy growth. It's like we've had this season.
Yeah.
There's been a few things. I don't do any bigger jobs, but they're going to come in, and I'm not going to be able to take on the jobs, especially where I'm sort of trying to get work more locally now. It's all properties. So.
There's a lot of acreages. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I love it around here. It's just there's a lot of space. Everyone's house is bigger, even the smallest yard's still 700 squares. Like
you find there's a few new subdivisions where you've got your 300-400 square meter blocks, but most of the existing real estate is all up around that sort of 800 to 1200 square meters. So you've got a lot of quarter acre block sizes there.
Yeah.
And they're ideal for running a ride on or a stand on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like the one that I've got at the moment is perfect pretty much for anything from 1,000 squares,
Yeah.
really. But like as soon as you start getting to doing a full acre above, a couple of acres and stuff, you need a bigger machine. You'll be there all
Well,
day.
I would say a 42-inch machine, so same deck size as what you've got, but slightly higher ground speed is ideal for probably 80%, 90% of the properties around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just a 42-inch machine that moves along at, say, 12 to 14 kilometres an hour, there's a few options there.
Yeah.
And they are brilliant. But if you want to target those 1 acre to 10 acre size blocks, I think majority of those you'd be aiming for would be 1 acre through to 3 or 4, 5 acres.
Yeah.
Then that's where you want the 52-inch machine that can move along at 18 to 20 kilometres an hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's good options for both.
Oh, for sure. And like, if you don't have the machine there, you can't get. You know what I mean? You can't look for the work and then buy a machine. I've always felt like you've always got to have the gear if you're going to go into that sort of work.
Yeah, it's kind of a catch-22, isn't it? I know what you mean. I'd started with a 42-inch zero turn, so I was really targeting all of those jobs that you're looking at with the 42-inch zero turn. And, that meant the majority of the jobs I was doing was quarter acre, half acre, 1 acre blocks. And I think I did one or two that were 2 or 3 acres.
Yeah.
And then I went out and had a couple of bigger acreages. So I got a 56-inch deck, and that made a world of difference for knocking over the bigger areas.
Yeah.
But that's when I had the walker, and you could swap the deck from the 42 to the 56, and you could just carry the extra deck on the trailer and swap it over.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, right.
Walker has a distinct advantage there when you can have one machine that has different deck sizes, but that had a ground speed of about 13, 14 kilometres an hour. So decent.
Yeah.
But if you're comparing that to something like the stand-on mower that moves along at 18 to 20 kilometres an hour and has a 60-plus inch deck, then it's not a comparison.
No.
But I guess that's where you go, okay, that Walker had the middle ground because I could do both. I could do the 42-inch deck on the smaller properties, and I could do the 56-inch deck on the bigger properties.
Yeah. No, for sure. So, it depends. I guess it depends what you want to do. I actually find it boring on the bigger property, on the ride-on. I thought when I got it, it was going to be, just sit on the ride-on all day. I just want to do ride-on work all day. I actually hate it. Like, I don't mind it, like, on certain days, but I couldn't do it all day. Like how you got guys out there just mowing fields, I would go mad, even with just listening on headphones all day, podcasts and things. I need to be moving.
Well, that's why you need to try the ZK, because it moves along at 20 kilometres an hour. So when you're out there doing those open spaces, they get done quickly.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, 20K is just flying. I can imagine some of the ones I've got now, I'd be doing them in half the time.
You don't do everything at 20 kilometres an hour, obviously.
No.
But you don't do everything at full speed on the current mower either.
No, you'll tip over.
So
if you do, you're a crazy operator.
Yeah, when you do the tight spaces, you go slow. When you've got wide open, smooth spaces, then you go fast. Yeah. And it just gets it done quicker.
What about on slopes and stuff with the ZK? Like,
it is. So my walker was incredible on slopes. I could do diagonal, so going along the slope.
Yeah.
Rather than up or down, I could go along the slope.
That's a lot more of what I do. Yeah, I've got a few like that. So.
The walker would do up to about 22 degrees going along the slope. And it would start to get a little bit edgy at that point. And the ZK will do those same slopes without feeling edgy.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's great. And the ZK is it's got a very wide stance, very low center of gravity. So and because you're a stander, you can lean up the slope. So you're then getting your center of gravity and your balance down nice and low.
Okay.
So it's great. And then I've got the Stander Eye, which is the 42-inch machine. So that's what I do now. Rather than having one walker that has two different decks on it, I've got two rights that have got different deck sizes. So the 42-inch right goes out to do all the small areas, and the 61-inch right goes out when I'm doing the big areas.
Yeah, perfect.
So it means two different machines. And if you're towing, because I'm working on one site all the time, but if you're towing a trailer, it means you want to carry two machines on a trailer instead of one.
No, for sure.
I guess it depends on whether you want to target that wider variety of customers.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, I
Which,
don't know if I'll go into the real bigger stuff, to be honest. It's sort of, I don't know.
yeah,
I just think sometimes the smaller stuff, I wanted to for the last couple of years, and I had workers and stuff. Like I was trying to go that path of building the
yeah,
business because there was just so much work, and
yeah,
I just think it's almost easier. I'm back by myself 3 days a week. My brother to me 2 days a week, and I'm
yeah,
enjoying it more than I ever have in a long time. So
yeah. Well, I guess that's what I've looked at. I've gone, all right, one mower and keep it to something I can manage most of the time and just get a worker to work with me in the busiest part of the year.
yeah,
But now I'm going, all right, let's make sure that I can keep my employee working all year round.
yeah.
And it actually means changing the business structure so that I take time off rather than they take time off. And
Yeah,
that
that's
allows
what
me to
I was
focus.
doing, but I had some shocking workers. I went to go to the third person, and
Yeah.
it was just sickies every week, and you're rearranging the diary. I don't
Yeah.
know how some of these guys do it, like from the LMCA and guys you've had on here.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to them. It's the stress, but I just don't think I have the personality and the
Yeah.
want to even do that now. Like I just think too stressful.
It's not for everyone, is it?
No, no, and that's where you got to be
Oh,
self-aware. I'm pretty self-aware, and I'm not built to run a business. Like I think I'm better off just being an
yeah.
operator with one worker, say,
Yep.
but not be in charge of other, like, multiple people's
Yeah.
livelihoods.
I think the majority of people who get into lawn mowing and gardening as a business, not working for somebody else, but as a business, they only ever envisage working for themselves. They don't envisage running a big business with a lot of employees doing the work. They always like, I want
Yeah,
to be the self-employed person.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's all I did, and then I think you sort of start to think, oh, got to go to that next level. Like, what do I take it to the next level as you're getting older? And
Yeah.
but I've actually went to, and I've gone back, and
Yep.
now it's actually I'm enjoying it more. I'm actually enjoying work again. So
That's good. Yeah, and that's the way it should be. So if we wind the clock back to 2013, I'm
hmm
guessing you weren't running around with the rig you've got now.
no. I started with an old Rodeo, 2001 Rodeo, bought second hand.
I was just
Um,
giving somebody a hard time about their Rodeo in the last interview.
I actually still have it, and I have to sell it sitting down on the coast. I need to sell it. It's out of Rego, and I need to get rid
Yeah.
of it because I held on to it when I went last year to last 2 years to get to get the two workers going, and then I was working by myself, sort of. But
Okay, yeah.
since I've gone back, I don't need it. I just need to get rid of it, get the
Fair
toolboxes off it
enough.
and stuff. But yeah, I started with that,
Yep.
and
With a trailer
I
or
ended
just all the gear in the Rodeo?
I had an old trailer, a real old trailer that my uncle gave me that
Yeah.
didn't even have sides. Like you could fit dead set 4 green bins in it. When I think back to it, I just laugh. And yeah, it was a dodgy setup, but it worked well for years. Like it was,
Yeah.
because I bought clients, so I
Yep.
bought like 75 clients or something off a guy that was local in Wee Wee down there on the Central Coast.
Yeah, okay.
Um, so got a loan and did that, and so I went straight into work.
Yeah.
Um, and then
So,
I did that, and I was still working bartending. So I used to do ridiculous, like I wouldn't do it now. Like I used to do 70-hour
yeah.
weeks when I was younger. I was pretty motivated,
Yeah.
younger. So like I saved the money, bought the ute, bought the gear, and then got the loan for the clients. So I kicked off pretty quick. Like
So
yeah, it was full
75
on.
clients, that would just about be enough to keep you busy full time without having the bar work.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I was just money hungry then. Like it was probably good. I need to try and get back like it. Like I think about it now, I'm like
Yeah.
so motivated. Like I would work till 3 8. I'd work like sometimes like 7 or 7:30 till say 3:30. Go home, start at 4:30 at the pub, and work till 3:30 in the morning and stuff. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yep.
But
Yeah, crazy hours. I've talked to a few people that have done that, where they've had that bar work at night time and then lawn mowing in the daytime. And it's like, you're on a path for burnout while you're doing that.
yeah, I didn't do it for too long. Like it was just like it wasn't worth it.
So what sort of gear do you start with? Do you start with just push mower, whip snipper blower?
Yeah, so I started with a Honda, like the TPE, the fake Hondas, like the
yeah, I know which one you mean. Yep.
Yeah, the ones that were like black instead of
DMC.
the red. Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. I thought
DMC was
TPE
a
or something.
guy on the Central Coast, Dan's Mower Centre, I think he went by.
Oh, okay.
And he had
Yeah,
the fake Hondas for a while.
yeah. This is from Blackwall Mowers down in Wee Wee there. Like that's the Mower Megastore,
Okay.
Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
okay, yep.
So I started there. So I went Husky because he's Husky. And because my old boss, who was the gyms guy, like I just pretty much copied what he had. You know what I mean? Like I learned from him.
Yeah.
Sort of what to get. Learnt, yeah. Didn't lucky I didn't learn too much from him. He was a loose unit. He was. I have some funny stories about him, but I don't think you want to hear it on here, mate.
Well, it's your decision whether you want to share some of those ones, whether they're above board or not.
He actually passed away this year, last year. So.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. So you started with that basic gear and 75 customers.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ramp up from there pretty quickly to wanting to put on an employee, or did you said you gave up the bar work fairly quickly?
Yeah, I had a casual guy like that worked for my old boss. Like he had a new guy when I left him, and then he'd sort of come with me one day a week.
Yep.
And then he I had a couple of different guys, mates, that said, "Oh, I've done mowing before," and they were just awful. Like it was just better working by myself. Until my brother, he's 9 years younger than me, so he started.
Yeah.
He was going to finish school. He was did pretty similar to what I did. Nothing at school. Didn't know what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I just said, "Oh, mate, come work for me until you figure out what you want to do." And yeah, he's still working for me. So he's actually just started his own. He's starting his own a bit on the side as well, which is good. I try and help him out, and he's just with me 2 days a week now.
So he's been working for you only, and now he's starting to do his own as well.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So there's so much work. People think, "Oh, is that weird?" Like your brother's sort of going as your competitor, but I'm like, you know how many mowing people like there are out there? Like, it's just so much work. Like, you can't service it all.
That's the thing. He's not in the same suburb as you, right?
No, so he's still where most of my work is. I'm still working down Central Coast. So
yeah. So when I started in 2010, I was doing Cooranbong, Morisset, Bonnells Bay, Dora Creek. And if I went further out the peninsula than Bonnells Bay, I'd start grinding gears going, what am I doing this for? So, it was a pretty tight run. And I filled that up so that I was full-time, busy, and get an employee to help me get through the summer.
Yeah.
And I counted about 12 contractors that were independent contractors working in the same area.
Yeah, there's probably more than that. In like, I was covering your mine at along Wee Wee, Booker Bay, and mate, there's so many gyms mowing in there. I'm like, yeah, like what are their areas? They're all in the same area. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. So my area, which I thought, maybe 3 or 4 contractors, there was 12 to 14 contractors that were regulars in the area. So easily you could go, all right, I've got a friend who wants to do the same kind of work. It's not competition. It's, it's somebody you can champion and help, and they can work on jobs with you even. And it's just, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
There's no concerns about them undermining you, trying to steal your jobs off you. And I mean, if that's the kind of personality that they are, that's got nothing to do with the amount of jobs available.
Exactly. Yeah. You probably, if they're doing that stuff, you don't know why you had them as an employee for so long.
That's right. Yeah.
So he's still doing that, and it helps me out now because he's got his own ute. He bought his own ute. He's got his own gear, so he's sort of he's going to start subcontracting. I've got to figure out with the account when I get my accounting. I'm behind on my taxes, so I've got to get that sorted. But
Yeah.
he's off my. It's good, no insurance now and that. Like he pays his own, and I pay him more, obviously, but I just think it's less stress for me as well. And like he loves it. Like I give him extra money. I'm just like I'm behind. Here's half a day's work, mate. Just get them done. You know the jobs, you've done them for 8 years, and I can go and do another job.
Yeah. So he's been working with you for 8 years?
Yep. So he's been working for me, 6 years.
6. Okay.
I think
And
6
when
or
I
7,
first
maybe
started,
it's 7 now. Yeah.
when I first talked to you, I think you were at that stage, you were trying to grow the business. So you had him working with you and you were trying to get more employees busy. So what we were talking about earlier,
I had three different third guys. I call him the third guy. Jared's always sort of been there. I just call him the third. Yeah, and that was Jared. I was trying to give Jared more responsibility, and Jared's my brother, by the way. And I was trying to get him to run one of the cars. So, and I pay him extra, and he runs the mowing run, and while I go and do the gardening, because there's just so much work coming through, and I was happy to just go and just do my nice jobs by myself, or the ride-on work and stuff, while they go and do a mowing run. And but just sickies, and every week, like you'd go, how many hours do you want? 12 hours, and they'd still have a sickie or something. Like it was tough.
Yep. Yeah.
It was tough. And it put me off.
Managing employees is challenging at the best of the time, but particularly when they're casuals. It's hard to get hard to communicate the expectations you have as a boss and actually have them understand that and respect it.
Yeah, and complaints from clients. Like I built my sort of business from just like people, like especially like a lot of hedging and stuff. We do pretty good hedging and topiary and all that. So the people see it and go, oh, they pull their cars over, it's like, and they go, can you come and quote our unit block and all this and stuff like that. But then when I started sending employees, it's hard, like, and you're trying to communicate, you're trying to learn to be a manager as well when all you've been is just a sole trader, like, and you're trying to learn how to get them to do the job you want. Like you train them as much as you want, but they don't care about the business as much as you do, and they never will. Like
that's it.
But I just found it's a lot easier now. I'm at all my jobs again and stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely the way forward for me. I get too stressed. These guys are 20 staff. They're madmen.
Well, when you talk to guys that are running multiple staff, and even some of the young guys I talked to recently, there was a couple of young guys that were in early 20s and running 6, 10, 12 staff. And the time that they spend working on the business versus working in the business is different to what you or I might be doing. So they spend a lot more time making sure their staff are trained, making sure their staff are doing what they need to be doing, instead of being out there cutting the hedges themselves.
Oh, for sure. It's crazy though what they got to. I've actually heard. I can't remember who it was. It might have been your podcast, and just like the turnover you need to have and the profit they actually make off it is so minimal. It's like, is that really worth it for the stress? Like for me, I think of that, and that's where I've listened to a couple of people like that you've had on. I think I'm not built for that. Like it's 24/7. Like you're working weekends. You might have to take calls at night and constantly rearranging things if someone's sick. Like I can't imagine what it's like with 6, 7, 10 staff. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, well, talking to those guys, it is interesting, and I think it really comes down to what you want out of business. And some people want to work for themselves and only be accountable to themselves, and other people want to run a show where they've got multiple employees and their job is not gardening, their job is managing the employees that do the gardening.
Yeah, absolutely. To me, that's my worst nightmare. Like an office job to me would be like, I'd rather go, if you did a crime and you had to go to jail or work in an office, I'd say just put me in jail. Bloody hell.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I sit somewhere in between. I don't mind a bit of both. But you look at, going back to what you're saying, the numbers. And when you're working on your own, and I've been asking people lately for numbers around their business so that we give people a good idea of what your business looks like. So share as much or as little as you want to do, but I'll put
Yeah.
it out there. And I've been doing that, just saying, you know what, when you're on
No,
your
I
own.
love that. That's what I love most about your potties or even LMCA. That's the
Yeah.
biggest things I've learned is in the last couple of years is the numbers, because I find it interesting as well, and to see
Yeah.
where I sit and to see like what other people are charging, different areas. Like different areas, you there's places you can't get that much money, you know, like it's or
that's right.
yeah.
So look at some basic numbers that are relevant for somebody who's working on their own, right? You go out there and you do a $100 job, and say it takes you an hour to do $100. And not everyone, like you say, there's going to be some places where you can't get that much money, other places where you get more money. But
People will say on LMCA that's 10 minutes, mate.
Yeah, and go for it. If you can do it, go for it. But let's just use that as a basic number, right? You're out there for an hour, you earn $100. When you're on your own, you've got three ways you can look at that. But predominantly the way you're going to look at it is I spent $45 to earn that $100, which means I'm left with $55. And that varies.
Yeah.
You're working hard, you earn $55 out of the 100. So for an hour's work, $55 an hour for wage is pretty good. But what you can also look at is
that how much you lose? Like if you went and made $100, how much would that be profit?
Well, this is what I find people who are solo are reporting somewhere around 40 to 50% in expenses, which means 50 to 60% in profit.
Yeah, but is that off? Oh, I get that, but is that off like when your accountants put everything in? So that's counting things that people that work for someone else as well, where but they'll have the same expense. Like it's not actually a work expense where it's, you know, they're claiming for an office and they're claiming for the phone bill, but like you get a phone bill if you work for if you're an employee as well, you're still paying whatever you pay.
So I like to look at this from a couple of different perspectives. So some people will report 50, 60% profit, which means they sit there and they calculate all their expenses, their vehicle, their uniforms, their phone bill, their mower, their fuel, all those things that they go through, they go add that up and they go, that's leaving me with 50 to 60% profit. There's a couple of guys I've spoken to that are up around 85 to 95% profit, which means that they're spending around $10 out of the 100 on those expenses.
Yeah, for sure.
There
I
is
reckon that's
variation.
If you're doing like hand mowing, and especially now, if you're using battery gear, I reckon your margins are way higher. Like your profit's way higher.
Yeah. So there's different factors to look at, right? And if you include all of the expenses you can possibly include, all your phone bills, your work clothes, all those various different things, updating your vehicle regularly, updating your mower regularly, then the average seems to be around that 50 to 60% profit margin. But yeah, like you say, if you go minimal expenses, use the cheapest possible equipment that is still commercial. So a push mower without self-propelled, 3 tools, keep it basic and knock over those easy jobs. Yeah, you can run very lean and you can get that sort of 90+% profit. But what I'm going to throw out there is that for the person who's around that 50 to 60% profit, if they look at the bills that they would incur anyway and they go, all right, those are lifestyle benefit expenses, even though I'm claiming them as business expenses.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, if you can get rid of them.
So if you take somebody who says they're earning 50 to 60%, when they calculate the lifestyle benefit, they're actually benefiting from about $85 out of the 100.
Yeah, right.
But if you then break that number down a different direction and you go, all right, suppose tomorrow I got off the tools, I hurt my back or I hurt my knee, I can't run, I can't work, I've got to pay my brother to go and do all of the work for me. And I'm going to pay him, say, $30 an hour, maybe more. But
no, that's spot on. That's what I pay. 32. So
yeah, so paying him $32 an hour, and afterwards, what's my profit margin after I pay wages and expenses? And typically in our industry, it's around 20 to 30%. So let's say 25% profit margin for small businesses. Yeah. And I mean like you or I, where you've got 1 or 2 employees.
Yeah.
you're running around 25 to 30% profit after you pay wages as well as all of your expenses.
Yeah.
And you can get leaner, but those are the three numbers that are fairly easy for the average business that's like you or I to go, yep, 50 to 60% profit, maybe 85% lifestyle benefit, or 25% if I'm paying an employee to do all of the labor.
Yeah. If you're paying an employee all the way, it definitely changes because you got their super and everything then, insurance.
Yeah. Yep.
It's,
So there are variables there. When I first paid an employee, I sat there and I calculated how much I was making from the job the employee did, and I was running at a loss.
yeah.
And there's a lot of people like that out there.
Oh, there's so many still. I got a quote from a guy that's been doing it for 34 years, next door to one. He's nearly 70, they said, and I can't wait till they see my quote. I'm just thinking there's no way he's been updating his prices. He's been at the same place for 34 years.
Well, yeah, that's the way it goes. I know there's plenty of people I've spoken to. When I first started my business, there was a guy working in my area, and I was $20 an hour more expensive than him when I started.
Yeah.
So I wasn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wasn't doing a great business then. I wasn't charging the right rates, and I was still $20 an hour more expensive than him. And I'm like, how can you do that? It doesn't make sense. And he's running around with the ride on too, not just push bar.
It's like some of the price you hear some guys you chat to, and you're just like, mate, you're not like, mate. And they're like, yeah, I know, but I just feel bad putting it up. And I'm like, yeah, but mate, you're not like really making, like, you're not making any money. Like, you may as well go and work for someone else and do 50% of the work. Like, you literally like work it out. You're probably making $23 an hour, buddy. Like, for some of the price, people sticking at $40 an hour is just like, that's crazy.
I started at $50 an hour. So in 2010, started at $50 an hour, and I reckon I was okay. But when I broke it down, I went, okay, I'm doing enough unpaid hours that I'm actually working for about half of that. So I'm getting paid, sure, $25 an hour for the time I'm on the tools. But when I take into account the time I'm doing bookwork and the time that I'm chasing invoices and the time that I'm running around doing other things, fixing mowers, add it all up and go, I'm actually working for less than $10 an hour.
Yeah, the unpaid hours is what need to be counted, isn't it? Massively.
So in that instance, that's what I've calculated, which is why when I paid an employee $20 an hour, I was running at a loss.
Yeah, 100%.
So 100%. It took me the error and the experience to actually change that and go, all right, I need to fix that because I need to be able to pay a wage. I can't live off $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Did you know that Wright has several different mowers to suit different size properties and different types of work? They range from the cute 32 all the way up to the big 72-inch standard that Kyle loves. Well, all the Wright mowers are built to be used commercially, and they have some great design features to make sure they save your business time and money season after season. Wright have carefully selected each engine to ensure it is very capable, yet fuel efficient for the work it's designed to do every day, all day. One of the features that got me over the line with Wright is the AeroCore deck. It's one of the best deck designs in Australia currently, clearing huge amounts of grass when side discharging, while still great for catching, and it mulches well with a variety of blades. I'm about to throw a set of gator blades on and will be sharing my experience for sure. We were talking about the hourly rates and the profit margins.
Yeah.
So do you want to share what your margins look like?
Well, so I can't remember. Mine changes every year. So it's like last year, I feel like I barely worked. We went on 2 holidays and stuff. So like in aiming, I always set a goal at the start of the year. It's like, it's changed in the last 2 years because of employees and all that. So I had workers and now, but now I'm just sort of happy to honestly just 800 plus GST. If I can turn that over by myself, I reckon that's a good number to sort of aim at.
You're talking day rate?
Yeah, just in the day. So say it's like you mentioned before, 100 an hour. I think if I can make
Yeah.
110 an hour, like 100 plus GST an hour, like just like cruising normal speed, not stressed, by myself, I
Yep.
reckon it's a decent day to me. Like but I don't
Yeah.
even what profits come from that. That's what I find interesting. I love hearing the chats that you have with people, and
Yeah.
I'd love to know more of what actually percentage of that I even is a profit. Like you say we're at 50, 60. You were saying before, but I find that it would be higher than that. It would have to be for my work.
Well,
Like my
I would
ride-on's a
think
$7,000 ride-on. Like,
I'm up around that 80% profit margin, right? But when I actually look at the numbers, it's not that high. So that's
no,
why I give those lifestyle numbers versus the actual expense ratio.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the expense ratio is literally, it's just $100. How much of that $100 goes on paying for fuel and mowers and cars and phones and things that are all claimed as business expenses? And yeah, some of them you're
yeah,
going to incur anyway, but it's just a straight expense ratio. So that's the easiest way to go. All right, that's where your profit margin is, just looking at the expense ratio.
yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
it'll vary. Look, it varies heaps from day to day, month to month. If you have workers' comp insurance, and I'm sitting here looking at a bill right now, it says that I'm going to be hit for a massive amount. It's gone up by 25%.
Oh yeah, I just heard that there's some insurances. That must have been what I heard on the radio just before about. I missed the start of it, but something about insurance is going up. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, they
What
are.
isn't
They're
going
all
up?
going
It's
up.
outrageous.
Yeah. So I got workers' comp insurance, and unless I go back and tell them not to, I'm up for like $4,500 for the year.
Yeah.
So if I
Oh,
pay that
four and a
in
half
one
grand for the
go,
year. Oh, so you're but you're insured if you're injured. See, I'm stupid. I don't have that.
well, that's workers' comp insurance, right? So that covers me and it covers my employees if we have a work injury.
Oh, okay. So that's yeah. So that's eye
Yeah.
care, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
I've got
right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're set up as a company and you're a working director of the company, then you're covered under your own iCare account. If you're a sole trader, you're not covered.
Yeah. So yeah, Jared's under eye care.
Yep.
And then I've just got normal business insurance. So
Yeah. So
I'm not
I'm
covered. I'm
covered
not
under my
covered for
iCare,
anything. Yeah.
but it's $4,500 for the year. If I pay that in one go, that makes my cash flow go backwards because of that one payment.
Oh,
Whereas
it's a
if I pay
killer.
it monthly, then it evens itself out over the year.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like,
So
and then you look at your monthly. It's the same as like people that are against financing machines and stuff. I'm like, go
yeah,
for it.
yeah.
Like I've always financed stuff. Like I hate forking out my own money.
Well, I guess the thing is, if you live off a credit card, which is same as financing, right? If you live off
Yeah.
finance or the credit, what you're doing is you're hiding your expenses. If you go, I'm only going to pay for it when I can afford it, then you know you can afford it when you buy it. The dilemma there is if you wait till you can afford it to buy it, you can never afford it. So if you finance it in business, then you can earn more money because you've financed equipment that you couldn't otherwise afford.
Yeah. Especially a
So
big ticket
it's
item like a ride-on or something. If you're spending 20s, 30s.
yeah, it's the egg before the chicken scenario. It's like, okay, I can put that right on to work. That $26,000 right ZK stander saves me time. It is so productive,
Oh, for
but it's
sure.
26
Like,
grand.
but that's the thing too. Yeah, isn't it? Like the bigger you go to that, that's where your expenses are coming in, and I think that's where you're dropping as well. But you've got to be, you must be having to. The thing must have to turn over what $250 an hour or something.
Well, this is the thing, right? So when I was using the walker, I was doing, I'm just trying to do the sums in my head. I was doing about a third as many hours on the ride on as what I'm doing with the ZK.
Yeah,
Right. So the ZK is that much more productive. It's probably close to twice as productive, but you never win 100% of the increase. So let's call it a third rather than double. It's like adding, instead of adding as much again, it's adding about a half as much again, or a bit more than half as much again
yeah,
to the productivity. So what it means is that the ride-on doesn't need as much maintenance as the old one did because it's not doing as many hours, but it's getting as much work done.
yeah. No, for
So
sure.
I can either do more work or I can reduce the amount of time I spend working.
Well, that's it. It's whatever you want, isn't it? It's, if you're doing it,
Yeah.
if you're buying it to shorten your days, like I like to work at the moment. I just 6 hour day, like including the travel. Like sorry, not including travel and that because I'm going to the coast, so that's say 45 minutes. 3
Yeah.
days a week. I just try and do 6, 7 hours. Like obviously it never works. I'm always there longer, but
Yeah.
if I can do a productive day, like that's 6 hours going straight out. We don't really muck about. If it's with my
Yep.
brother, like you're getting a fair bit done. If it's a mowing run, say, or even just a bit of like a few hedging jobs and then some lawns. Like
Yeah.
I'm happy to just go. Oh, let's go home. Like, it's. I don't think you need. People are so stressed about doing the full day, but that's just to each to their own, I guess.
Well, I guess it depends on the type of business you want to run at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I like the
So,
lifestyle a lot about what we do as well.
yeah. So I guess if you're hitting the numbers you want to hit and you get to do it without working really long hours, then that's a win for you because that's what you're after.
Oh, absolutely. Like, yeah, like some people's hours that I hear they're doing and stuff, I just think it's crazy. And like, you're just going to burn out, really.
Yeah.
Like, or you're missing something. And like, if you're doing 10, 12 hour days in summer, you're just crazy to me. I just like, if you're
Yeah.
doing 7 till 5, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, what for?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who do you owe money? What's going on? You hate your
Well,
wife or something, you just don't want to be at home. Like, it's crazy.
yeah. Well, that's what some people want to do. And I talked to a guy a couple of days ago who is doing that, working 7 days a week, basically most of the time, 6, 7
Yeah, I
days a
know a
week
few
and
guys like that too. I think
long
it's their
hours.
personality. They love working. Like they just love what they do.
Yeah. They love working or they don't love being at home. And I think they
Yeah,
still love their family, but they just don't, that doesn't set their fire burning, having relationships. It sets their fire burning being out there working. And,
I
I
joke,
think
I joke about that all the time. People like that, I say, "Geez, you must hate your family. You do
that
that many hours." Like, but I guess like,
yeah.
I don't have kids and stuff. Like my home life's good. Like my social life's good. So I try and
Yeah.
get a good balance. You know what I mean? I'd
Yeah.
love. Honestly, in average, when I look at my diary, probably only work 4 days a week and then probably not even 8 hour days every time. Like when you get your rain, if
Yeah.
it's raining, I'll just find a way, I'll do a Saturday and just take the Tuesday off if it's raining. And
Yeah.
I'm pretty cruisy like that. Like I'm not a super
That's
strict guy.
cool.
I need to be stricter and more disciplined, but it's,
Well, do you or are you happy with what you're doing?
well, I do. And I actually have gotten better, but that's ever since, we've bought a house now. We're settled. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
I lived in 5 different rentals. Like,
Yeah.
I'd always be going out with mates for beers on the weekends, and
Yeah.
social life was full. I've been to Europe a few times and holidays, and
Yep.
I, I am more settled the last probably 2 years, which is
Yeah.
funny. And the business, and you can tell I can tell I'm making more money. Like it's
Yeah.
simple as that. Like I'm making more money, and it shows.
So I guess that's the question that most people ask when they are starting a business, and lawn mowing business is the one to go for because it's really easy for people to get into.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you start a business and you're like, am I doing it to get away from working for somebody else? Am I doing it because I want to be able to work my own hours? Am I doing it because I want to make more money? Am I doing it because I can then choose how to balance all of those things simultaneously?
Yeah, I know. I've said it to a couple of people that have started, and I've actually said, "Are you starting to do less work? Like, because you don't want to work for someone, so you want to work less? Because if you're doing that, then it doesn't work that way. You're always working more. You're you're quoting. You got your
Yeah.
paperwork. There's more. Like people
Yep.
think they look at what you like. An employee looks and thinks, "Oh, the grass is greener because you're making more money," but they
Yeah.
think maybe sometimes that you're working less than them, but you're not. Like they're unpaid hours and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
Is
I said to my employee today, I said, you go out there and you keep mowing, I'm going home. And she looked at me like, what? Are you okay? Are you sick? And I'm
you
like,
don't
no,
need to.
I'm
You're the
going
boss.
for a motorbike ride with my wife.
Yeah, that's what it's about. Honestly, that's what. Where some people are the opposite. They're just like, nah, that's cost me. I could have, if I'm there, I'll probably turn over another $400, $500. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
that way. I'm not same as, I've gotten better in times where you have a day off or you have a long weekend again, and you go, I'll do it next week. But you do that a few times through the year, and like say that's 4 or 5, whatever the turn. If it's a full day off, might be say $700-800 profit. It adds up if you do that 10, 20 times in a year. It adds up at the end of the year, doesn't it? You notice it.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's where you make that choice. You go, okay, what am I willing to do? What do I need to do to make sure that I'm getting where I need to go?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where, like, I actually sit down there and go, how much do I need to live? Like, with my lifestyle, I've sort of started doing that sort of stuff of late and, like, write it down and actually write down the financial goal and what we've got coming up. Like, if we're going on a holiday or, like, we're getting married next year, so I've got that. Like, I'm a lot more organised with my finances that way. But I don't make, like, near as what some of these people are saying that they make. But I'm pretty cruisy, to be honest.
Well, it sounds like your numbers are pretty good. So you're not stressed about it. You're pretty chilled about it, which is a good indication that you're okay with where you're at.
Yeah, like a full day, we turn over good money. Like we turn over, you know what I mean? It's not stressed.
I see some of the people that are workaholics. They fall into a couple of different categories, but one of them is that they're not charging enough, so they feel like they need to be doing 10 hour, 12 hour, 14
that's what a
hour
lot
days.
of them are, isn't it? You're 7-day workers, and I think, what are you making in 7 days, mate? And then you just go, and you don't really want to say, but like you think, I'll make that in 5. So you're doing 2 full days.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So you start watching your back when you're around those guys because you're like, they're going to go and quote that $80 job at $45.
You go up the quotes and sometimes you just go, oh, look, I can't compete to that. Like, go with that guy. Or this guy said this. I said, honestly, call him back right now. Like, don't think you're affecting me. Like, don't think you're offending me. Literally, like, but you'll go into some quotes and you just think, holy moly, like they're not making. Or I'll say to the person, he's probably making $30 off that job or $300 off that day's work. Like it's a bargain.
The other kind that I see getting around there is you see a guy getting around in a Renault Traffic, and it uses 7 litres per 100. So it's like, okay, he's running around in a van and it's not using a lot of diesel, and then you see
is that because that's what I'm running. So what does it run? I don't even know.
Mine's running about 7 litres per 100.
Is that good?
But I'm not towing a trailer. If you tow a trailer, that might go up. But the point I'm making is you see somebody running around like that with something that's reasonably efficient and they can make fairly good money out of it. But then you see somebody else running around in the old Rodeo, which is breaking down every time they turn around. And their
it's literally double.
Yeah.
I've got both and it's double. Like when I would try not to bring the Rodeo when I moved up this way and I was still working at the coast. It's like $20 to drive it. Like a 45-minute drive is like $20. When I reckon it'd be about $6 or $7 in maybe $8 in the van that I bought. That was the best thing I ever did.
So that's the point I'm making, is that when you're trying to get that balance of making good money, some people are just throwing bad money after bad money, which means they feel like they've got to work harder because they got to pay for the crappy vehicle they're running around. They got to pay for the mower that keeps on breaking down. They got to, goodness knows, they might even buy a Ford.
You're talking to the wrong.
I think I just offended 90% of the people out there.
I'm the guy that's like, if it gets me from A to B, I've got no idea. Absolutely no interest either. It's one of those things. I've never been interested in cars, anything to do with motors. That's why I'm loving the battery gear now, mate.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You get the right gear and you save money.
The gear does all the work. Even the right ladders. Like I bought a platform 2.4 whatever platform. I was doing a lot of bigger hedging.
Yep.
And you go that with the telescopic pole hedger. Like the jobs I think back that I used to do, I'm doing them in literally half the time. And the quote's obviously gone up over the years. You've been doing the properties for a long time.
Yeah.
Like the gears makes all the difference. Like that can make you a couple of $100 in in a day just there.
Yeah. When I did my first season, got to winter and sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and one of my customers like, "Oh, you can prune these trees for me," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm going to go and buy a chainsaw." And I didn't have a chainsaw because I was the cowboy with 3 tools. So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I went and I bought, and I didn't go to Bunnings. I saved $5 by buying it off eBay. I bought an Ozito chainsaw off eBay instead of Bunnings because it
Oh
saved me
no.
$5. the The thing is, while that chainsaw was relatively new, it paid for itself so quickly that it made a huge amount of sense to me to go, okay, investing in the right tool for the right job
Yeah.
pays for itself. And I had my eyes set on getting a steel chainsaw to replace the Ozito, but the
Yeah.
Ozito got me the job.
Oh, for sure. I did the same thing. I bought a secondhand chainsaw first. I did a tree lopping job once, and I just said, "Oh yeah, I'll do it." And I got it for $100 off my mate that's a mechanic. Like he's a
Yeah.
boat mechanic, and he had it, and like it was a $4,000 tree.
Yeah.
So like the profit on it was huge, and I like burnt half the wood, and same thing though.
Yep.
And then I ended up buying the battery chainsaws. They're unbelievable. Like
Yeah. But see, that's the thing. By the time that Ozito chainsaw had a blunt chain, and I'm sitting there going, "Grr, it's not efficient. It's actually painful having this chainsaw." It had paid for itself enough to get the steel chainsaw, so I upgraded, and now I've got the battery saw, so that's even more of an upgrade again.
yeah, that's what you do. Like you work your way up.
Yeah, so you see people constantly out there burning more money than they're making, like when the chain's blunt on the chainsaw and you're sitting there going, it's not actually an efficient tool. Why have I got it in the first place?
Yeah.
And then you see other people who are constantly chasing more and more money, but they're also burning it quicker than they make it. So you could be out there churning over $500,000 a year, but you're still burning a hole in your pocket because you haven't sat down and made sure you're profitable.
Oh, for sure. There's one thing actually you asked before. What would you give anyone trying to start a business? What advice?
Yep.
If you haven't done it, go and work for someone else.
Yeah.
Go and do it for 6, 12 months. Like do the winter, do the summer, and like see if you actually can go. And if it's you're gonna looking at a franchise, say with gyms, which a lot of guys do. They just go, oh, I'm sick of my job.
Yeah.
I see this ad for gyms. Like there's so many people go bust in the first year because you get that 38, 39 degree day, and you've built this client base, and you've got every excuse, and some rotund fellas as well. You see like some big fellas getting around, and you just go, wonder what like the new ones start every year, and they just as soon as it gets to that, you don't want to be doing it, especially this year. The humidity, it kills you. Like it's not an easy job. Like some of the jobs, there's days that I've done, and they're just usually the easiest day. And the other week was just like I was struggling just to do like 14 lawns, like which was usually cruisy for me. But the humidity's been crazy.
Yeah. Well, the episode I just released with Remy Williams, he said the same thing. He said, go and get some experience working for somebody else because that will help you so much. But speaking of all the guys that get out there, they start and then they don't get through a full season before they pack it up because they become disillusioned. It's like 39 degree, 40 degree days and high humidity. I give up and go home.
Yeah.
My hope is that by putting out this podcast, those guys will make better informed decisions about what they're doing and why they're doing it, so that if they choose to get into a lawn care and gardening business, they've got the advice and the information to be able to make a good go at it.
Oh, for sure. And it's like depends how much you want to make, but you need to turn over a certain amount. You need to be doing enough. You need to be doing enough lawns during the day. Some of the numbers that I hear guys throwing out is like some are really high, but you hear some people that are just going and mowing 3 or 4 lawns in a day. Like once winter comes, the way I see it, say you do. It depends on the size of the lawns you're doing. Some people, you know what I mean. That's what it varies on the size of the properties. But say you're doing 15 lawns, that's going to be, or 14 lawns in winter, that's going to be 7, because usually you might go from fortnightlies or weeklies to half the time, monthly.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but so your profits are going to half in winter. Just say if you're only lawn mowing, and this is where the guys go out of business.
Yeah, for sure. So
If you're doing
I guess that's what.
in summer, you're doing 2 in winter. You've made
Yeah,
$100 a day in winter. You can't, and your bills have stayed the exact same. Your insurance hasn't changed that month.
yeah,
Your rent hasn't changed. Like I think that's where you got to think ahead as well for new people.
yeah. So I found my first winter it was like that. I went and got a job working for somebody else.
Yeah,
But the second winter, I had enough work to keep me busy. Yeah, I earned half as much in winter as what I did in summer. And that's
yeah,
when I started looking at my numbers and going, okay, what do they average across the whole year rather than just looking at
yeah. That's
daily
the thing.
my daily turnover or my monthly or my weekly. What's my yearly turnover? And if I'm hitting what I need for the whole year, I can afford to have a holiday in winter where I can't easily take a holiday in summer. So there's one way to look at going,
As
okay,
long as you're good with your money, which I was terrible for years. Like I would, like I said, went to
yeah,
go to Europe and stuff. 6 weeks off, so you've got 6 weeks no. Like this
yep,
before I'd work, is you got no income coming in. You've probably spent 10
yep,
grand. Like
yep.
that kills you.
Oh yeah. I've done that. I haven't gone to Europe to do it, but I have certainly done that. I've gone, you know what, now's the perfect time to take a holiday. It's one thing
Yeah,
to say you're going to take a holiday. It's another thing to actually not have that income coming in for 3 or 4 weeks.
yeah. Well, this will be the first year I don't go. I'm going to go to Brisbane for the Magic round in the footy, but
Yeah.
I said nah, I can't afford it this year. Like I've got a
Yep.
few badges behind and stuff to pay, and I've
Yep.
finally started getting some money together, paid some debts off, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It'll be the first year I haven't holidayed in 4 years or something.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Well, this winter I'm going to Cape York again, so
Oh,
to
beauty.
make it work.
Yeah, nice,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's the Australian thing to do to go to Cape York. You really need to do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so Cape York's near. Like, where's that? That's
North Queensland.
yeah,
So
yeah,
north of Cairns. So you get from
yeah. Because I've been
Cairns.
Cairns and Port Douglas. Like, I went there 2, 3 years ago. It's expensive up
Yeah.
there. I tell you what.
Yeah. So people who travel Cape York, they will typically go from Cairns to the Daintree. That's where the start of their four-wheel driving is, the Daintree.
Okay,
And
yeah, yeah.
depends on what you do for your trip to Cape York, but you typically go Daintree, Cooktown, and then you get the Peninsula Development Road, which is the road that rattles everyone's cars to pieces, full of corrugations, vibrations, and massive wallows that will break everything that you thought was solid.
Okay, yeah,
And then the famous old telly track.
yeah, right, yeah.
So the old telly track is where you see all the videos of four-wheel drives going down the big drop-off into the Gunshot or the Palm Creek, and they roll over and wreck their vehicles.
Yeah, yeah.
That's that. Yeah. And then you get up the very top, and you've got the towns up the top. You've got Weipa, which is a mining town, and then you go right up to the very tip, and you've got a couple of little towns there, Cisse, and a couple of camp spots. And then you go right up the tip, take your photo with the sign that says you're at the northernmost point of Australia.
Yeah, all the tourist things to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it's a
looking
good
forward to
spot.
doing it
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, because we did like the Barrier Reef and was it Hartley's Croc? That was the best thing I've ever done that way. The feeding
Okay,
the
yeah.
croc with this, on the stick and getting
Oh,
them to
yep.
jump. You pay and get that. That was unbelievable. That's the best thing I've ever done
Yeah. So was
on a
that in
holiday.
Cairns or was that a bit out of Cairns?
That was in, where is that? Is that Cairns or is that Port Douglas? I'm not sure. I'm so bad when my missus organises all our holidays. Like we went to New
Yeah.
Zealand a few months back, and we were at the airport, and I said I was a bit tired. I said, "Oh, where are we?" Like it was because I was getting sick, and we're in Auckland
Yeah.
Airport. I had no idea what airport we were even in.
No clue.
Nah, no, I don't pay attention too much. I
Oh,
just
at least she
enjoy
knows
the
where you're
time.
going. She won't lead you astray, hopefully.
Yeah, nah, I just enjoy it wherever I am. It doesn't really matter.
Nice. Yeah. Well, Brenton, we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point in time, we're normally going, okay, what have we talked about? Is there anything we've missed that we really need to cover?
Not really, mate. I don't know. You're not going to learn too much from me. No one's going to. You learn what.
I think we've already learnt a fair bit. But yeah, so we've talked a bit about where you started and what your current equipment looks like, the size, what your business looks like at the moment in terms of working with your brother, and your goals for the future. We asked you right off the start what your recommendations are for somebody starting out. So we kind of hit all of those questions already.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's about all I think to cover. Like, just don't get Bunnings mowers. Don't get like. I'd recommend getting the right gear. Don't go getting the $200 whippersnapper and thinking it could break in 3 jobs, and then you're buying another one. You can't get your jobs. And I always think if you're starting a business, start with some finances and stuff. Like, get the right.
Yeah, so we've sort of touched on the need to get decent commercial gear and make sure that that's working well and efficiently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
And it sounds like you've worked your way to the point where you've got some pretty good commercial equipment, got a fairly efficient run that's working well for you.
Yeah, got a mix between residential, commercial, and strata. So mine's all different.
So your plans for the future sound like it's aimed more for the small acreages around this area?
Yeah, so it's definitely changed.
Get a more efficient ride-on mower?
Yeah. So something that can, if we're going to keep getting growth like we've been getting the last sort of year, 2 years, we're going to keep getting rain in summer, and the growth's almost double the rate. So I need something that can knock things back down and I can do.
Yeah.
But I'm sort of just sticking with what I got now. I think I was trying to grow too big. I had a bigger client base, and I'm just going to concentrate on what I've already got. I looked at my business and realised that I don't need to keep growing, and I was probably neglecting jobs that I'd had for years because I was thinking I had to grow, but probably already had a good client base there, really.
I've come across a couple of guys who have had that realization after a while. It's like, growing isn't actually beneficial right now. Actually making myself more efficient, sitting back and going, all right, let's enjoy where I'm at, enjoy the pace and not push.
Well, I don't even do cleanups anymore, which is great.
Fair enough.
Like, clean on the side of bush blocks, and, there's great money in them. And you used to you can do huge quotes.
Yeah.
There's no, of late, I'm not stressed enough. When you know what you got on the next day, you're like, oh, I really don't want to do that. Like 8 hours of hedging on a ladder, like, or something, hedge reduction, taking on jobs, and they want this hedge reduction, and it's 60 meters long. Like, I just don't take on those jobs anymore. Just regular clients.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Enjoy and work more.
Yeah. Fair. I can't argue with that. That's a great spot to be, isn't it?
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. I'm slowing down as I'm getting older too. So, like, you don't, I don't know.
All you need's a mower that runs along at 20 kilometres an hour and you'll be
100%. And gates wide enough.
Well, this is the thing. And for the area you and I are in right now, a 42-inch machine is ideal for those residential yards. It'll fit through most of the gates on residential yards. You go bigger than that and you can still do a lot with it, but the 42-inch machine seems to be that really good sweet point.
That's what I'm loving, like, building around here now. I've only got like 4 regulars, but they're all really good jobs. Because I've only started looking the last couple of months. You've helped me with a couple recommendations and stuff, but like from the coast where I did it, it's all small. You wouldn't get them in there. Like, it's like the jobs are tiny. Your average job's $60 to $70. To where now you're on a ride on all the time. It's great because you can actually get more done. Or you're doing a little bit more whippersnipping, but it's that's easy. You can whippersnip all day. Like, it's like if you've been doing it for as long as we have, you know what it's like. But if you're not push mowing as much in summer, it's great. Like, it's
makes
your body,
a big difference.
You're coming home with a bit of energy.
Yeah, that's it. So you'll find there's a lot more jobs that are up over $100 around here.
Yeah, and that's what I'm adjusting to quoting too. It's funny, 13 years in or whatever it is, like, of doing this, and I'm still learning. Like, I'm sort of relearning to quote because You've got to adapt to. You've always had to adapt to like whether the person can afford it or if it's a commercial job. When charging. But I've never done so many jobs where it's ride-ons. So now I've actually got a little system where I actually measure it out and go that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. You know that if you quote right with the square meterage, then it doesn't matter whether you do it with the push mower or the ride-on. You're still going to be hitting your margin. Yeah.
Exactly right. And then if you go up a machine, you're just doing it in half the time. You know what I mean? Like if I go up something that can actually go faster than my walking speed, if I get 20 kilometres an hour, far out. I'm thinking about it now. Some of the jobs I do, they'll be easy. They'll be hour jobs.
Yeah, knock them over a lot quicker. Yeah. So I think that's your sweet spot in our area. If you got your 42-inch machine you can take for your residential run and then a 52 or somewhere around there for your acreage run.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
No, it's exactly what I'm going for too. And because I bought all gear to get 2 cars on the road. So now I've got triples of everything, quadruple snip, you know what I mean? So I bought all this, even the hedges, so everything just to fit out both cars. So I actually haven't had to spend any money this year, which is funny.
That's a nice feeling, isn't it?
2 years. Yeah, it is a nice feeling. Like I've noticed it big time.
You just got to watch the tax bill because that'll creep up on you when you're not spending enough money.
Yeah, no expenses to claim. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, Brenton, I'm going to wrap it up. I think it's been a very interesting interview. I think people will get something quite useful out of it.
Yeah, beauty. Thanks for having me on, mate.
No, thank you for your time. It's been great. Must be just about time for dinner.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.